coming out to the garage, about to work on the 70 Monte a little bit. Can cut the TV on, throw some grindstone in the back. It just dropped another video, so once I find my remote, I'll throw that on. But until then, plans today for the 70 Monte. Talked to him about the HVAC stuff, so we're gonna pull all that out. I'll set that over, or set that off to the side in a box. That way, if they want to throw it in later, they can. As far as the vents and everything, I'll take that out. The controls will still go back in the dash, so those will still go back in this area, so it's not blank. But other than that, we'll figure out where the fuse box is going to sit, which I'll try to put it in the stock location, or stock-ish location, for the most part. And then I think we got this seat's already unbolted, so I think we're gonna have to pull the back seat, just so when we run the wires and everything, they can pass through there. I did order a lot of stuff, so these connectors, I know I was saying were like $7-8, which at the auto parts store, I don't know if it's just my area, but the prices are way jacked up. So I actually ordered them all off Rock Auto. I think they're about $4 or $5 a piece, which is nice. So we got those ordered. Got the ignition cylinder ordered, and some other things: headlights, side markers, bulbs. So I asked him, I was like, do you want to go regular bulbs or do you want to go LEDs? I think I was just talking about the headlights. I was like, well, if we're going to do the headlights, might as well do everything. So went ahead and ordered LED headlights, LED bulbs for the side markers, and all LED bulbs for the back. Ordered new lens covers for the reverse lights, and I think a new license plate light. Yeah, new one of those. So those will all be new. Still waiting to hear back from one of the companies that reached out to me about the stereo, so I'll give them a couple more days before I order the stereo. But I'll order some 6x9s. I'll order those. And then I was debating about some 3.5s up here. However, I don't want to put them up here just because he is going with the Dakota Digital, and I'm not sure how much room between the speakers and the Dakota Digital there will be, and I don't want it interfering with it with the magnet on the back of the speaker. So for now, I'll just do the 6x9s, and I'll talk to them and see if they want to do the kick panel replacements and throw the speakers in there. But for now, I'll just wire it up for the 6x9s in the rear and the stereo once I order those. But other than that, like I said, we're just waiting for all these connectors to come in. But in the meantime, I think we could pull the back seat, run all the wiring we need to back here. Like I said, I'm gonna keep these. It might be a little brighter in here to see this time, but there's little tabs up here that hold the wiring in place. So we'll do that. We'll be able to get everything ran, get everything poked through here. I will use these stock grommets. So pull the wiring through there, and I think we might have to add a ground. It looks like a ground strap right there. So we'll see where that goes to. Obviously nowhere, but that looks like a ground, and I might add another one, just because when you do this wiring harness, it does not come with the pigtails or the ground pigtails for the rear lights or the front lights. So the front's not too big a problem, but I'll do the same thing that I've done on pretty much all the swaps, is weld a bolt on for the ground, because I'm gonna want to ground these heads also. So I might add like bolt somewhere in here. Inside or outside, something like that. But I usually flip them around so the threads are sticking out. That way you can run a nut down there instead of trying to sandwich it in between the frame and the bolt. So we'll get that situated. I think I could pull up what I'm talking about. Well, this one I just did come straight up, but just welded that on so it's extra ground. And like I said, you want to definitely ground both of the heads. I'm not seeing where this one's grounded at. Might be on the other side. Yeah, there's a ground strap on there, so I'll do the same thing for here. Probably add one to the rear back here, just another grounding point. You can never have too many. Good grounds, good to have. So yeah, let me stop talking. I'll pull the driver's seat out, pull the back seat out, try to get as much of the harness ran through the back that I can, and we'll go from there. All right, so I couldn't find my remote, but cut some grind school on the phone. Said back seat is out. I knew I was going to have to remove it to fish these wires through, and originally I was going to peel back the carpet a little bit, run them along this channel, tuck them up under here, run them back probably through there. But I see this strip here, it has a protective coating on it already. So what I'll do, I'll use that. I'll get all these old wires pulled through. When I run the new ones, I'll run them along there, and pretty much just go back here and then run along the side of the trunk towards the back. But yeah, peel the carpet up, remove some of the sound deadening. I'll send them some pictures of that. I'm not sure if they knew the condition of the floor, but not too bad. Same thing on that side, not too bad. Cut it out, replacement panel, nice and good. This one, try to use some rust reformer and do that. I don't see it. Might need a patch piece there, but not too bad. Something that's repairable. I'm not going to attempt it, but I'll send them some pictures, see what they want to do. But I think just a couple patch panels. The rest of the floor is pretty solid. That little piece there is a little weak. I'm gonna leave the other side intact. So, like I said, it's one of those things. I don't see it. So, but yeah, that is there. We'll just run it through how they had it from factory. All the little tie downs like those. So it keeps it nice and flush to the floor. But that's about it for now. It's starting to get hot in here, so I have the fan going still. Other thing is, like I said, I want to mount the fuse box. Like I said, I think about keeping it in the same location. So what I might have to do, build a little platform for it so it stands off a little bit. But we'll see. Because there's not much, I don't know what goes up in here, if anything. Which that won't be a bad spot to put it, but it's just getting to it if you needed to change out a fuse or something. So that probably won't be the best place. So I might have to figure out something right here. So yeah, but I can, in the meantime, like, get the wires ran to where they need to go. And we'll figure that out. Alright, so I'll give a last little update before the camera goes on the charger. What I have planned is a little panel piece like that. Now I'll weld that in. Alright, so I switched up the plane a little bit, went ahead and welded that plate in. Figure with some body work and everything, that'd be nice and flush right there. And instead of welding a bracket onto this piece here, like space it out, what I'm gonna do is drill 2 more holes to match up with these holes here. I'm gonna drill these out a little bit larger, and then what I'll do is I'll get a bolt, run it through that way. Yeah, run the bolt through that way and put some spacers on the bolt. So it'll be like at least a 1-inch spacer in between there, and then just bolt this plate on from the other side. That way it'll bolt on the fuse box, and then this will bolt on to the firewall instead of being permanent. So yeah, that's what I'll do. So just need to drill these out a little bit once this cools down, and then we'll drill another hole for this grommet. So that would be right down here somewhere. Yeah, right along there. A little bit lower than stock location, so I'm not gonna hide it completely, but it's gonna hide it a little bit more. Thought about just drilling out where this hole was, but I'm not sure what goes there. I don't think it's anything too important, but we'll just drill it out right there, hide it a little bit. That way when these bolts get ran through, pretty much match these right here, or look similar, so it's not going to stand out too much. But yeah, that's the plan. So you have to do a little bit of welding, which is always fun. Yeah, so let me find the right size drill bit for that, or hole saw for this. Get that hole cut out, and I might have some bolts. I might have a couple bolts where I can run these through. So we'll get these holes drilled out, find some bolts, get it ran through. I might not have the spacers yet, but I have the bolts, so I can get all this in place and start running all the wires. I need to invest in a drill press. I'm tired of drilling everything out by hand, even though this isn't that thick. I'm sure in the future something's going to come up where I need an actual drill press. So, excuse me. Might look to invest in one of those. You can get them fairly cheap, but I know I use it quite a bit, so I might spend a little bit of money on that. But yeah, let me get this drilled out, get those holes drilled out, and I'll cut you guys back on here in a little bit. Alright, so yeah, that's how it's going to look. Took a little while, but finally got that opened up enough for the grommet. We'll get the front harness passed through there, and then, like I said, we'll take out the rear harness and then run through that sleeving. And then the underdash stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Just need to get a few bolts. I'll pick those up in the morning on the way home. And some spacers. Probably gonna do 1.5 inches, so I'll probably do 2-inch long bolts. And we'll go from there. But yeah, let me get everything ran through, and I'll cut you guys back on. It's getting pretty hot out here. Still have to work tonight, so probably clean up a little bit and then wrap it up for the day. Once I get the computer, well, I might throw this in too, just to see how it's looking. Like I said, I'll just try to use that stock hole right there. It shouldn't throw it off too much. We'll see. It depends from the angle. It's like there, it's right behind the intake. But come up here, it looks like it's sitting above it. But yeah, we might just go ahead and just use that hole to run the ECU wiring through and call it good, because I can't find my hole saw. And then that hole, I think it says a 2-inch hole, and it's a hair under, so I might be able to massage that a little bit and get it to fit. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day, and next time I cut this on, we should be separating a lot more of the wires and go from there. Alright, I lied. I kept going, so I did remove the pretty much heater core and HVAC system out of there, and there's a lot of room up under here. So what I'll do is I will run all the wires for the ECU wherever I put that, right there. I'll open this up to 2 inches and we'll go from there. So I think that's the best spot for it. Like I said, the hole's already there. These ones here, I'd have to open up way too much and it'd be a little awkward just off to the side. So I figure there, it's gonna hide the majority of it and we'll go from there. As far as this big hole here, just say I might have a piece of metal, so might cut that out to shape. Not welded in, but I'll probably bolt that one in. That way, if they do decide to go and put AC or something back in here, just remove that plate and call it good. Yeah, it's not that thick right there anyway. Pretty thin metal, so yeah, we'll just put a piece over there, cover it up, call it good. May or may not be where the ECU will sit, because I still need to get a hold of the ECU and figure out where it's going to mount. But with all that out, there's quite a bit of room. Might do it behind that kick panel. We'll see. But might just do it on that plate I make, and like I said, if things change in the future, we'll just figure out a new route for that. Yeah, let me get the Dremel out and cut this up a little bit more, and we'll go from there. Can't be removing that too many times. That's the only thing keeping it rolling downhill. But yeah, that's that grommet there. That's for the firewall. Everything else should fit through there. This section will stay on the inside. And I have to figure out where all these go. But yeah, let me finish cutting that up, and then we should be done for the day. Because like I said, it's starting to get pretty hot. Alright, so all the wires I ran through, we'll worry about plugging them in later. Probably tomorrow. The only thing I'm worried about is trying to figure out, I think I know, this should be driver's side. I don't think any of the connectors are really labeled for the injectors, but judging by all these connectors, TPMS, all the stuff up here, where the Holly, it's all labeled. So yeah, oil pressure sensor, coolant temp sensor, all that stuff. Should be all that. I'm guessing that's driver's side. And then that's transmission. It should be passenger side. Only thing I'm worried about is we might have to extend these 2 wires for the battery. So probably have to extend those, but the rest of it should just plug right in. So I'll look at the instructions a little bit more. But yeah, we'll worry about plugging everything up later. The hole, like I said, cut it out 2 inches. Might be slightly bigger. So gasket it came with. Nope. Yeah. So I might do one of those split gaskets. So I just have to drill some holes and bolt it in. So that's probably what I'll do for that. But yeah, probably sit about there, and it's not gonna look too bad. I thought it was gonna be a little bit higher, a little bit more exposed, but I think that should be good. So wiring is roughed in. Next step, like I said, just waiting for connectors and everything. Come out tomorrow, get some stuff plugged in. Wait for the ECU and all that. So yeah, it's stuff definitely moving along at a pretty decent pace. Like I said, there's no timeline on the job, but I'm gonna try to knock it out as quickly as I can, with making it look as nice as I can. So we'll definitely wire loom everything. I wish this was wire loom instead of the plastic. So I wish it was like this mesh wire loom, but it is what it is. We'll make it look good, get everything terminated, and go from there. I said once went for the front clip, connectors, I think battery. I'll see if they can bring the battery up also, because I need to see where the battery, I don't know where the stock location is. It's either driver's side or passenger side up here somewhere, so we'll have to figure that out. But might hit up my buddy Justin at Casper's Electronics, run up there and get my battery cables, and maybe a hot wire kit for the fuel pump. I know this might be a little different. I'd have to look at this manual and see how it goes, but it should have some wiring on there for fuel pump. I'm not sure, but it definitely needs something to run it. So yeah, so fuel pump relay, ignition relay. So yeah, there's definitely a relay on there already. So I'll probably still look into the hot wire kit for it and figure something out. I don't know if I just take that relay off and run it as something else, or find a way to integrate it into this fuel pump relay. So we'll figure it out, but I'll definitely run up there probably to get some battery cables, and that might be it. I might pick them up local. If I do run up there, it gives me an excuse to go see the old neighbors and their little one. So we'll see. But yeah, like I said, it's getting hot. Time to put everything up and call it a day. Come out tomorrow after work and get some rest, and then probably come out a little bit later after that and try to get everything wired up, test out the fans and all that. Probably take these connectors off, and I do have some that I got last time for the P1 Cruiser left over, so we'll put some of those connectors on there and call it good. But instead, without the front clip, I don't know the lengths of everything, so we'll get it figured out and we'll go from there. But I'll cut you guys back on next time.